I didn't notice. Okay, we're up to Mem Gimel Amid Aleph. We're right. We're in the Sugya of Avadim. Actually, we're up to Mem Beis Amid Aleph, not Mem Gimel. Mem Beis Amid Aleph. Okay, let's just go. Okay, anyway. Anyway, we had a machlokes. We had a machlokes between Rabbi and Rabbi Yosef. Exactly where the machlokes in Rabbi and the Chachamim were. If you go ahead and you have a person, he frees shtar half. So the Rebbe says that the evidence kind of half. The Chacham says he's not kind of. But the Chacham said that lo lami isha, just like you can't go ahead and be kind of half an isha, you can't be an eved can't be kind of half an eved. Rebbe made the what? He said he made a hekesh, just like kesef. If you pay to yourself right, you're kind of the other half. So to the chupsa lo nitin lo the shtar also you be kind of your half. That was the machlokes. But bekesef, according to Rabbi, l'divri akol, even the Chacham would hold you kind of that the eved would be kind of because you could be paid to yourself. Rabbi Yosef disagreed. Rabbi Yosef says by shtar everyone agrees you're lot kind of. And by kesef, that's the machlokes. We upslug Rabbi Yosef. Rabbi Yosef says, therefore, in the final analysis, the machlokes in Rabbi and the Chacham is across the board. Side by shtar and side by kesef. Okay, so now we're up to Membeis and Amarabba, 2 lines down. Amarabba. Machlokes is b'shashir chetzyav, v'eniach chetzyav. The machlokes in Rabbi and the Chacham that we just spoke out is where you feed half and you left over half. That's the chatziyah v'chatzi baschayrin. Aval shicher chetzyav. If you freed half, umacha chetzyav, and you sold the other half. In other words, all parts of the eved have been taken from this adain is gone. One he freed and the other he sold. Einasim b'matana chetzyav, or he gave it matana as chetzyav. Even the kanafik minei kule, since from this adain's rishus left, either through a mechira or through a shnar matana. Right, divriya kol koina. Even the chachamim will be minded that you're koina. Again, machlokes is where chatzi remains chatzi. But if you go ahead and from the adan, each will be gone, either through a mechira on the other half that he didn't free, or through the nesina of matana on the other half, right? Then what the halacha would be? Even the chacham would be minded koina. Why? Because he's not in the rishus of the adan anymore. He gave away the whole thing. Amle abaya ubekuloi le pligi. And meaning that if he gives away the whole kit and caboodle, is not right. It's not like pligi. They don't argue. For tani chada, one brisa, guys. We're gonna have a machlokes in the brisa, and the Gemara is going to attempt to say that the answer in the brisa is it's a machlokes between Rebbe and the Chachamim, and it's speaking kuloi. And you see the Chachamim still argue by kuloi. Guys, listen. It'll facilitate better understanding. We're suggesting now that the machlokes between Rebbe and the Chachamim is only where he frees half and leaves over half. But if he gets rid of the whole thing, even the Chacham would be Maida. The Gemara now is going to bring a machlokes between 2 brises and say the best pshat is to say one is according, and they're both speaking kulei. And the best pshat would be one is according to Rebbe, one is according to Chachamim. So you see the Chachamim would argue by kulei also. In other words, even if you give away the whole thing from this guy's rishus, the Chacham would say what? That loikana. So that's what the Gemara is going to suggest. What's the 2 brises? Over kulei pligi for 20 chada hakoisef nechasav l'shnei avadav. A person writes all of his nechasim to 2 avadim. He writes over and bevas achas. He wrote on 2 separate stories. You acquire everything, and he writes to the other guy, you acquire everything. The halacha is kana, they're kana, umishachrim zeh, and they go ahead and free each other. Right? The Tanya idach, another brisa. All my nechasim are given over to ploni my servants. Af atzman like koine, not even koine themselves. So now, apparently, in both cases, you're giving everything to 2 avadim. In one case, you're saying koina, and the other is saying you're not koina. What would be the best way to explain it? The one that says koina would be according to Rebbe, and the one that says loy koina would be what? According to Chachamim. And what are we speaking about? Kuloi. So you see the Chachamim, even by Kula, would argue, not like Rabbi. Says the Gemara, my love, ha Rebbe, ha Rabbanan. The one that says, both are speaking Kulai. And the one that says Kaina is Rebbe. And the one that says Loi Kaina is the Chachamim. It's a Kashan Rabbah. You see, based upon this explanation, that even by Kulai, the Chachamim are of the opinion that Loi Kaina. Yeah, everyone understands this? Good. Loy, it's not true. Just want to make sure that you know. Idi Rabbanan. They're both Rabbanan. Hadam Kulay, Hadam Chetzi. Perish. He wrote the following. He wrote a star, and in the star he gave everything to everybody. Each one got everything. In the other one, each one got. I'm giving half to you and half to you. So when you give half to you, right? You're leaving over half of each one. So therefore, you're not kohen. But now, so therefore, the one that's really had you said cooler like Rabbi, Einochinami, everyone be maida that koina. Here a Bryce over here, one says koina, one says not koina. It's according to Chachamim. The one that says koina is kulay. The one that says about loy koina, he said chetzi, and therefore it's not koina. Fredrik Mara, how could you say that it's speaking this brisa? The latter brisa is speaking chetzi, but midiktani sefer of that latter brisa, v'mama chetzi loy kana michal dereisha da'ama kulay. Pirish, there's two clauses, A and B. You tell me clause is speaking chetzi, clause A is chetzi. It can't be, because clause B is chetzi, right? So, therefore, it must be clause A is what is kulay, and therefore kasha on Rabba. That but the come say by kula is not koina. Says in the Purusha Kamafarish, meaning we're explaining af atzman le koina. Then in this, even yourself, you're not koina. Ketzad keep going. When it says that you're not koina, it's the chetzi. That in other words, this is the latter part of the sefer is explaining the reisha. So the reisha says the following: hakoisim nechasa of the Ha'omer kol nechasei nesunu leploni ploni avdi af atzman loikana. Guys, look at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 lines down. Ha'omer from the top. Ha'omer kol nechasei nesunim leploni ploni avadai. All my nechasim are given over to so and so my avadim. Af atzman loikana. When comes along the latter part of the brisa and says when you say chatzi. So it's not two separate clauses. B is explaining A. But Einochinami, if you say kulay, you would be koina. So right now, Rabbi has held serve. Again, so what do we attempt to do? We attempted to question Rabbi that says that Chachamim agree by kula that you would be koina. It would be koina. And we're saying that no. But the Chacham would be moida. We want to say no because of the steer and brises, and we want to say that the one that's not koina is according to Chachamim. No, the Chachamim would say that kula is koina, and that brise is speaking chetzi. A third brisa says chetzi. That third brisa is an explanation of the second brisa. When the second brisa, when we said af atzmo leikana, what do you mean af atzmo leikana? If in the shtar you wrote chetzi, they're not koina themselves. So right now, Rav is held good. Hachanami mistaber, this pshat is geshmak as anything. The isal kedaydach reisha da'ama kuloi. If you're going to tell me the reisha, meaning the brisa number 2 is speaking kuloi, hash da'ama kuloi kana ama chatzi mi boy. Guys, clause number. Let's get the first brisa. Second brisa, clause A. If a guy goes ahead and writes all neschasim to his evet, all is nechasim to both avodim, you're not kaina. And now you tell me what? If you write chatzi, it can't be. Why do we have to tell me clause B? If badach, when you wrote the whole thing over, you're not kaina. Certainly, when you wrote it over half, you're not kaina. So therefore, it can't be. Says the Gemara. No, if that's your whole proof, that's not proof. We're not in the spoil of that pshat. Why? Tana seifa ligluye reisha. We're learning clause B to explain clause A. Shlei toima. Don't think. Reisha clause B A dama chatzi avama kulai kana, and therefore tana seifa dama chatzi mechal the reisha dama kulai vafilu hachilai kana, and even so it's not kana. So therefore, in other words, you're learning clause B to say clause A, that it's don't make the mistake to think that what it's speaking about chatzi. I know. Again, once you have this shot, all you want to be doicha is a shot. In other words, once you have a kasha, if I have a teretz, it's doichik as it is, I'm good. I know it's escape. One more time. Says the Gemara. Tana seifa clause B, chatzi legluya reisha. So don't let you think reisha dama chatzi. You would think the reisha is speaking, guys. When it says like kaina, you'd say it's speaking chatzi. That's what you'd think. Aval ama kula kana, but if you say kula is kana, therefore tana seifa dama chatzi. That the seifa is speaking chatzi. Mechal dereisha dama kulai vafilu hachi la kana. Even so, what you're not kana. It's not shver. Kam b'shtar echad, kam b'shtei shtaris. B'shtar echad, it's speaking kulay, guys. B'shtar echad, you're kaina. In two shtaris, one after the other, you're not kaina. Look at Rashi. B'shtar echad, loy kana. In one shtar, you're not kaina. Kegoin kol nechasai leploini uploini avodai dichsiv la loy lo l'chaverta. In other words, this shtar, right? It has to be divorce one woman. It can't go ahead and free two. It can't free two. Why? Just like one get can't free two women, you need two separate gitim. So to over here. And they can't be free with one get. So now we have new terrace. When do we say that what? That you're not kaina, that's b'shtar echad. Kam b'shtei shtaris, where you what? It's two shtaris. Says b'shtar echad, my area chatzi. I feel I'm a kulinami. If that's the case, guys, if it's a chesaron that you can't free two with what? With one shtar, then why do you care about the way the property was divided up? Once they're not free, they're not kaina anything. You're telling me, guys, that one shtar you said chatzi, and therefore it doesn't work. It's not going to work. Why? Because the freedom doesn't work. Forget the chatzi. The fact that one shtar can't free two avodim, just like one get can't divorce two women. So once you come onto that, memela doesn't work. Forget about the kula and the chatzi. Says no hachinami. Ein hachinami. Af atzman leikana. Again, the second brisa, clause number A. Af atzman leikana. The medival murim that they're not kaina is b'shtar echad. Why? Because they're not free, because you can't free two avodim with one shtar. Aval b'shnei shtaros, but with two shtaros, kana. Now, however, the mama chatzi, af b'shnei shtaros, nami like kana. Even b'shnei shtaros also you're not kana. But right now, Rabbi is held serve, guys. Rabbi is held serve. Now, v'ba yisema, again, both prices are speaking kuloi and loy kasha. Kam b'vasachas, kam b'zachazeh. If you give it b'vasachas, each one is kind each other. If you give it b'zachazeh, the first guy is kind of the first guy is kind of, the second guy not. Kan b'zachazeh. Bishlem abasra leikana. Bishlem, the second one can't acquire the first one. The kind of leikama because the first one acquired himself. Elakama likli nafshe v'likli lechave. Let the first one acquire himself and then acquire the second one. And enochinami should. So that's not a valid teretz. Some of the early terutzim that we gave would be more appropriate. One star, two stars, right? Or the chachamim. One would be holding what? It's explaining the resha. The clause number 3 is explaining clause number 2. Okay, just chazara. That's it, guys. Just a quick chazara. Rabbi said a chiddush. The machloikus between Rabbi and the chachamim by chatzi eved, chatzi baschayrin. That Rabbi says that he does acquire himself when the master frees him. Again, you're speaking about one master and he's freeing only half the evet. Rabbi says you coin the other half, and the Chum say you don't coin the other half. That's only what? It's only in a case where he left over half. If he went ahead and sold the other half, or he went ahead and gave away the other half to Matana, that he no longer is the Baal, even though he's half an evet to the other guy, to you, everyone will be moidi kaina. That's Rabbi's chiddush. We asked on Rabbah from a steer in Brises, seemingly thinking that the second brisa would be according to Chachamim, and it says like Kana, and we're proving that no, the Chachamim would say what? The Chachamim would say that second brisa, we have other ways of answering up that brisa. That second brisa, either it's speaking bizachazeh, that's why it's not Kana, or it's speaking by one star, that's why it's not Kana, or it's speaking where you said chatzi, that's why you're not Kana. But we have ways out of explaining the second brisa, not having to come on to the Chum say by kulai, you would be not kaina. That's the okay. Baruch Hashem. The Gemara gets a little easier. One more teretz. Rav Ashi Mashayni Hasam the Kokorele Avodai. Guys, again, 8 lines down. Let's go to the 8 lines. Your kasha. Kol nechasai nesunim leploni uploni avodai. All my nechasim are given over to so and so my servant. So my servants. Now he calls them avodai. What does avodai mean? My slaves. Mashma, he didn't free them, and he mistakenly thought that you can give over your property to slaves. So the reason why enachinami kuloi the chachamim would be maida is kaina, but over here he didn't go ahead and free the slaves. He still called them slaves. Since he still called them slaves, how can you give Masha kind of rabbi? He mistakenly thought that he can give it away without freeing them. That's Rav Ashi's teretz. Good, back in the Gemara. Rav Ashi Mashayni Hasam the Kokorele Avodai. Rav Ashi the Dilva Avodai Shohaya Kfar. But maybe not that it's still my avodim, maybe that they were my avodim. Milay Tanan. HaKoisiv kol nechasav la'avdai. Someone writes over all the nechasim to his eved. Yatzel l'cheres. However, Shire Karka kol shehu la yatzel l'cheres, because maybe he left over the eved. Rav Shimon Oimer lo'ilam hu ben chayrin at sheyayim kol nechasayin nesun l'pleini avdi chutz mi echad meriba shebehen. Except 1/10,000 of it, and then in that case, that 1/10,000 could be the eved. Now, now look at these guys. Kol nechasayin nesun l'pleini avdi. That's the key. All we care about is the one word, guys. Look what Rav Shimon said. Kol Rav Shimon Oimer lo'ilam hu ben chayrin at sheyayim kol nechasayin nesunim l'pleini avdi. So what's he calling him? He's calling him Eved. And if he didn't say chutz mi echem riboy, he'd be free. So what do you see? Calling him your Eved means that he was your Eved, not that he's still your Eved. So therefore, Rav Ashi's taina that avoda you're still calling him slaves is not wichtig. It's not correct. That's the reason why he's not kaina. Kana, you would acquire what? The Eved. According to Rav Ashi, you still called him Eved. Ella, what do you have to say? Avdi Shahir Kavar, Hachanami Avodai Shahir Kavar. So therefore, your teretzwad is not a vechlik. Okay, so basically, we held serve. I'd like to take the opportunity to wish a herzlich mazel tov to Zaidi Kenny on the circumcision of his Aaron Simcha. Right? God, Torah l'chuf meisim tovim. We should bring you nachas, the mishpacha nachas, Klal Yisrael nachas, and most importantly, the Rabbi Shalom nachas.
Amen. Amen.
Okay, you got a little Yehuda. You put a little party hat on there. Okay. Anyway. Okay, a little bit about Baba Kama. There's a parsha Baba Kama of a shar shenagach. A shar we find in two venues: a tam that it goes once, and a muad that it goes 3 times. It goes 3 times. If he goes 3 times, then he has to pay. If he kills somebody, he pays kofar. He pays kofar. If the person he killed was an eved, you pay 30. Now, it's machlokes how much kofar is. Is the may of the mazik, the may of the nizik? Do you go after the one who killed the killer or the kili? Right? That's machlokes in the beginning of Baba Kama. But an eved, regardless of his worth, you're going to pay 30. Shleishim shkalim. Whether he's worth 1,000 or worth a penny, you're going to pay shleishim shaleved. It's a kanas. Kanas is anything that's a more or less, or a dava kotzev. It's a dava kotzev. So anything that's a set amount is a kanas. So therefore, with this sugya, we're going to have a sugya now, a bunch of scenarios regarding what happens if you gore chatzi eved chatzi baskayrin. Now going back to the Mishnah, right? We had a machloikus between Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel. What did Beis Hillel say? Beis Hillel says, if it one day he works for himself and one day he works for his master. One day he works for himself, one day he works for his master. Shammai came with a time and said, you helped out the master, you helped, but on a personal level, this guy's stuck, he can never get married. He can't marry a Jewish woman because he's half an Eved. He can't marry a Shifcha because he's half a Jewish person. So therefore, Kaifin as Rabbi to give him a get, and if they take an Olam, because again, the world was created for peer Verivio, the Shevis Yitzhar, we spoke at Taisvis, and therefore what? Chaza Beis Hillel Beis Shammai. He was moided to Beis Shammai. Okay, so now, so with that in mind, let's see. Nachu Shar Yoim Shel Rabbi. If he now this is apparently is going towards the first lashon before Beis Hillel had Charata. So Nachu Shar Yoim Shel Rabbi. The day that he was serving his master, he was gored. Then the Rabbi. Whatever payment goes to the Rabbi. In other words, he's going to be worth less now, the Eved, because of the Nezek. It goes to the master. Yom Shel Atzmo. If, however, it was the free day, and then he gets the Latzmo, the amount of money that he is what the Nezek. That means he's been diminished as a result of the wound, right? That now we'll go to him. Elamayata, Fred the Gemara. Yom Shel Rabbi Yisa Shivcha, Yom Shel Atzmo Yisa Baschayrin, right? So on the day that he's working the master, so therefore he can marry a shifcha. The day he's free, he can marry a baschayrin. And the Gemara, Isur like kamrinan. I wasn't speaking about Isur. I was speaking about money. I was speaking about money. In other words, money is finite. This day the money goes to me. That day the money goes to you. Masha'en came when you don't have a status vis-a-vis Isur. That in other words, today I'm married to you, tomorrow I'm not. That doesn't work. That doesn't work. You look at Rashi. Isur like kamrinan. 4 lines up. Just like his malachis depends on day. You work for your master this day. I work for myself this day. So too, DNA mominus. I can go ahead and work this way. Okay. Toshma. Himis misha chetziv every chetziv mechayrin. You go ahead and the shor, this is a shor zamuid, he kills chatzi every chayv baschar. Good. Now, if it was a full evet, how much would he pay? So now, what's the kasha? You pay fifth. No, right? You half a kayf, half a 30, right? He's correct. Says the Gemara. Hey, Miss Misha Cheser Eskar Nechayrin. Noisin Chatzi Knas LeRabbi. You give 15 shkalim to the because half of 30 is 15. The Chatzi Kayf Yarshav, and the tzad he has a tzad cheres. You have to give half the kayf what to his yarshim. Now the question is, how does he have yarshim? Okay, well that's the question. That's tomorrow's daf. We have half a person. Okay, we have to see where we have a half a yarish. We have to see that. Now, amai, why is that? Hachanami lema yom shel rabbi leRabbi, yom shel atzmai la'atzmai. What?
We work for Rabbi to get 30. We work for himself to get full like a very
No, but I'm saying we have to view only a full eved would get kanas. You're not a full eved the day you're working for yourself, the day you're working for your master. You're still half. You're still half. You're not a full eved that day. That really is a kash. Like, how do you view chatzi eved chatzi baschayrin?
Yeah, but the working half of the day, one day for me, one day for you, is not it's just there's no other way to do it. So it's like a shara. Okay, we'll make up a deal. Like it's like a shaking your hand. There are partners shaking your hands together. Okay, you take it this day, you take that. But any money that comes to you is this, and any money comes to you is that. But kaifer and the shkalm is coming. It doesn't work like that.
I think the Gemara gives you. I think the Gemara gives you a teretz. Let's see if the Gemara gives you a teretz. Anyway, what's the kasha? The kasha is, why do you say that what? The day that he's working for himself, what? He should, like Benji's saying, the day that he's working for his master, he should pay the full kanas to the master. And the day that's working for himself, he should go pay the kaifa to himself. Why do you divide it up to half? Right? That's the kasha. My answer is, shiny hacha, the kokalya karna. When you're kalya karna, meaning the keren is consumed. Who's the keren here? The slave. He's what he is finished. So if he's injured and he's still around and he'll recover, so he'll go back to the state of what? Half a day for 1 day for you, 1 day for me. But once he's dead, right? Al karcha, what do you have to say? You have to say, let's look at him as a whole, not on a day-to-day thing. As a whole, I have half and he has half, right? And therefore, kaifa would go to the yarshim half and we'll go over here. Again, one more time. Guys, when he is damaged, but he's going to recover, or even if he's diminished in value, nonetheless, I can say half goes to this day and half goes to this day. But once he's dead, al karchach, you have to look at the whole picture, the whole evidence. You can't say I'll look at him as a dead, half dead. He's dead. Once he's dead, so therefore, dead. Half for you knas, half for you kaifer. That's the Gemara's teretz. That's called it. Now, ve'alhechi dami deloi kal yakarna. What would example be deloi kal yakarna? Ki going shiko al yadai. The shor goes, or he's hit on his hand. I said shor, maybe I'm correct. He was hit on his hand. It's samsa and it swelled up. Yadai the seifel aksar. In other words, he's stricken a blow by a person. And he can't work anymore for a period of time, but he's going to get better. Now the question is, when you're going to get better, right? And it's not permanent. Is there a chi of nezek or just sheves? In other words, what does nezek mean? Nezek means there's a pchas in my damov. There's a pchas in my damov. Sheves is the disability. So this is machloikas between Abaye and Rava. Abaye says that there's two payments. Even though he's going to get better, there's the nezek for the time he can't work. And included in that, then there's the disability that he could be doing a minimal amount. Let's say he's a carpenter. He can't use his hand, but he can be a scarecrow. He doesn't need his hands. That would be the sheves katana. The sheves kadayla would be the work that he can't do anymore. Where Rava says, since it get better, the sheves would be larger. Good. So like Rava, there is no nezek, guys. Like Rava, there's no nezek. So now. The heichi dummy that what half and that he goes half and half. The loikalia karno keep going. She call yodav with some yodav with seifel achsa. Now had nichala abaya the amar noisin lo sheves gedoyla, which is nezek, the sheves katana of disability. Shapir then it's very good. We can understand, right? The din that we said above, that the shor that hits the eved, you pay to the chasdamav on the day of the master, to the master, on the day of himself to himself, because there is nezek there, and a shor pays nezek. Because there are, outside fellas, 5 payments. If a man hits a person, nezek, tsar, ripa, sheves, u'baishet. If a man hits another man, nezek, tsar, ripa, sheves, and u'baishet. Nezek is under discussion now. The chasdamav, tsar, how much you're willing to pay to have a anesthesia, sheves, disability, and baishet is and doctor bills. Saripa is doctor bills and embarrassment. Okay, that's only by a person. It's not by a shor. A shor would only pay nezek. A shor would not pay what? A shor would not pay. Okay, so now let's. Ish ki teimun ba misay, ish ba misay v'lei shor ba misay. The shor only pays nezek. So guys, outside, guys, kasha outside. We have a kasha, guys. We began the sugya. If a man is damaged, if it's damaged on the day of his master, the nezek goes to the master. If it gets damaged on the day of the evet, he gets the money, right? That gets the money. We're asking a question from getting killed. We're saying there's a difference. Once you're killed, then each person gets. But when you're not killed, then you're going to go after that. Now, what is under discussion? Who damaged the person? A shor, correct? A shor damaged the person, yeah? What's the only of the 5 things that a shor pays? Nezek. So bishlei medabaya, that heichid delay kalyer karna, where there's damage without misa, and I have nezek, I can explain the first brisa. There's nezek for the day of the master, and there's nezek for the day of the slave. But like Rava, that there's no such thing as nezek, heichid delay kalyer karna. In other words, where the guy doesn't die, it's just a matter of getting disability, and there is no nezek. A shor doesn't pay what? Disability. How akun Rava, you can explain what the first brisa. Okay, that's the Gemara's kasha. Let's see it inside. Again, we're going on the brisa that we started off with a shor, a naguk shor, yom shel rabbi, le rabbi, yom shel atzmai le atzmai. We're asking on that. Ella 3 lines down. Vel hechi dami, that brisa, the like your karna. That brisa is speaking where what? Where the keren, meaning the eved, was not consumed, he's intact. For example, Kigoin, she al yadoi, he was struck on his hand, but some say yadoi, v'seifer lakser, it swelled up, and that in the end, he's going to be okay. Hanichala bayadama noisin la sheves godoila, which is nezek, v'sheves katana, which is sheves shapir. I have an explanation. I have the mitzias of nezek to be divided depending upon the day. He only pays the disability day by day, and therefore there's no nezek. Hi sharhu, this hamis was a shar, this damager was a shar. The shar ain't mishalim ela nezek. A shar does not pay sheves; he only pays nezek. So what's your pshat in that first brisa? That's the kash. And for the Gemara, you're right. I'll give you a few truths. You know what it's speaking about? It's speaking about what? Where a man hit him. Even though it says not kushar yom shel rabbi yom shel atzmai, it could be, I don't know how I could say man. It said shar. It said shar, right? What? I'm calling in the middle of shir. No, my daughter. Chutzpah. I guess you have to say it's not speaking about Nachushar. I know you have to say it's not speaking about that. That again, you're going to say that. In other words, it's not. In other words, that it said Nachushar, you're going to pay this one and that one. Rob is saying that what? That wouldn't be. When would the case be where you do pay this, do pay this? In other words, there's 2 pshatim. I'll listen up. We have to answer. We're not learning pshat in the brisa. We have to answer up. How's it possible? How's it possible to pay half a day here, half a day there? You have to say it's not speaking nachushar, or else it doesn't make any sense, right? That doesn't make any sense. So that's one pshat. Okay. V'bayasema memrehi. Ibayasema It's a memra. Guys, it's not a brisa. It's not a brisa. Nochu shor yoim shel rabbi l'rabbi, yoim shel atzmai la'atzmai. That's not a brisa. It's a memra. It's an Amoraic statement. Umemra l'Rava le'sfir. And Rabbi does not agree with it. Rabbi doesn't agree with it that what this day you'll get this one you get this one. He doesn't agree with it. Iboilu. Mu'ukiv gets shichra. A person's mu'ukiv gets shichra. Guys, someone who's magdish is eved. What's the din? Yatzel cheres v'tzarech gets shichra. Again, side according to Rav, side according to Rabbi Yochanan. The only one who didn't say is Shmuel. Hamafker avdoi. Yatzel cheres v'tzarech gets shichra. In that intermediate time, before he gets his get shichra, what happens if he gets killed through a shor? In other words, if he's a lame duck, Eved, is he an Eved or not an Eved? You guys hear the kasha. This is the sugi we're going through. Very gishmak. Iboilahu. Mu'ukiv gets shichra. Yesh like kanas or ain like kanas. Mu'ukiv gets shichra. Does he have kanas or he doesn't have kanas? Kesev shloish shkolim yitain ladain. If the pasuk in Mishpatim says Kesev 30 shkolim you should give to his master. Rachmana v'hailav odin because he freed him. Idilma keeping the mechusa get shechrar, since he's missing his get shechrar, odin karena bay is called an odin. Alam the shashayla, guys, you're a lame duck, you freed him, but you didn't give him to get shechrar yet, and now he gets killed. And we know in the eved the shleishim shkalim shal eved. Is he free and there's none, or no? Since he's ready to get shechrar, that's enough to be called your master to collect the kanas. Hashma. Hey miss misha chetzi of chetzi ben chayrin. A shor kills someone who's chetzi beva chetzi ben chayrin. Noisn chetzi kanas l'rabbi. The chetzi kaifel yarshoy. My love commissioner achroina. Meaning, what's the mishnah achroina? Ella Beishamai says, what do you do? Kaifin es rabbi to give a get shechra. And so what happened? This occurred when, before he received his get shechra, and nonetheless you're paying chatzi knas. Is the charaya, you're still the odin. For the Gemara, no, like Commissioner Shaina. It's speaking of Commissioner Shaina, half a day you work for me, half a day I work for you. Tashma. We know that an Eved Kanani goes free if you go ahead and knock out his Shem V'ayin. Fellas, but there's a drasha from Mitzayra, not only Shem V'ayin, but 22 other Rasha Evarim. His fingers, his toes, his ears, and his aver. The tip, any one of these, he's going to go what? He's going to go free. Okay, now, but there might be a difference between the two. The only thing written in the Torah is Shem V'ayin. The other one's a limud from what? From a klalu prat from Mitzayra. Now, Tashma, hipul eshenoi, if the master knocks out his tooth, that means he's going to go free now. And the havamina is, guys, he needs a get shechur. So therefore, it's pertinent to Ashayla. Again, he knocks out his tooth, and the havamina is he needs to get shechur. So this is pertinent to Ashayla. What?
That's like the moment part of the release.
No, I don't think it's a moment. I don't know. He just has to be released. He just has to be released, but he needs to get shechur. He has to be free like anything else. The sima es einai, and consequently, he then goes ahead and blinds him. Yaitza b'shinoi, he goes out with shinoi. V'noistin the bei einai, and he he'd have to pay the eved his eye. Good, he has to pay his eved his eye. So now it must be that is considered free. Because if he's not considered free, what happens if someone else would knock out his eye? Then the money would go to him. So you're telling me if someone else knocks out the eye, the money goes to him. But if he knocks out the eye, he pays the eved. Makes no sense. If you're going to tell me that a mu'ukiv gets shechur, someone who's lacking to get shechur, and in this case, someone who knocks out the eye has to get shechur, if you're going to tell me that the master is still the master, vis-a-vis kanas, ukanas l'rabbi, hashta chavle be'achrina, if someone else would hit the eved, yavle l'rabbi, the master would collect, chavle be'rabbi gufe, if the, right, yavle l'videi, he's going to pay the eved? Guys, l'chayr we have a raya that he's not the master. L'chayr we have a raya is not the master. Let's go through it. Beautiful deal. He goes ahead, he knocks out his tooth. He's going free. Havamina, he needs to get shechur. And therefore, if the master blinds him, he has to pay the eved. Now, it must be that the eved's free without the get shechur. It must be that the eved's considered free without the get shechur, and therefore the eved's receiving money from the master. I'll tell you why. Because if you're going to tell me he's still an Eved because he didn't receive his get shikra, then here this will follow through. The master knocks out the eye, the tooth. He needs to get shikra. Someone else comes along and knocks out his eye. And if he does, if you're telling me he's still the master is going to get the money, correct? Because he's still the master. So listen to this. You're telling me if someone else would knock it out, the master would get the money. Now, however, if the master knocks it out, he'd have to pay the Eved. If he's still the master, he doesn't pay the Eved anything. Ella must be he's not the master anymore, and therefore he has to pay the Eved what for the work value of his eye, and that's the proof. So the Gemara, Dilma Command Yamin, it's easy way out, guys. Guess what? This is going according to Mandiyam, who's of the opinion you do not need to get shikhr if you knock out the eye or the tooth of an Eved. That's the teretz, guys. That's the teretz. Once you don't need to get shikhr, it's nothing to do with Ashayla, right? It's nothing. Ashayla is if you're free for some reason, mafker, hegdish, or in this case, hippel sheinai, and you need to get shikhr, but if you don't need to get shikhr, then it does not negate us, correct? Now, remember I told you there's two limudim over here. There's shein va'ayin, which is in the Torah, and then there's the other 22, which is a limud. Good? Now, we're going to see there might be a difference whether you need to get shikhr depending what you knocked out. Okay, the Tanya. The Kulan, in all of the 24 Rashi Evarim, Eved Yaitza ben Lecheris, B'tzarech get shikhr, may Rabbi Divrei Rabbi Shmuel. No matter what, no matter how many, you're going to, no matter which one of the 24, you're going to need to get shikhr. Remeya Omer, ain't it tzarech? Remeya says you don't need to get shikhr. Rabbi Eliezer Omer, tzarech, you do need. Rabbi Tarfon Omer, ain't it tzarech? Rabbi Kiva Omer, tzarech. Hamachriya Ufnei Chachamim Oimrim, the ones that are machriya, the words of the Chachamim Nira, Divrei Rabbi Tarfon who says ain't it tzarech, b'shein va'ayin. Shein va'ayin you would not need. Hayol v'Torah zachsalai. Since the Torah is Zoicha, you don't need to get shikra. Masha Enkein, the other 22, you would need. The Divrei Rabbi Akiva b'Sharei Varim, what if you would not need a get shikra. Now again, they both say, both Rabbi Tarfon and Rabbi Akiva say you do not need a get shikra. No. Rabbi Tarfon says you don't need. Rabbi Akiva says you do need. Now, Rabbi Tarfon says that b'shem v'ayin you don't need. The Divrei Rabbi Akiva b'Sharei Varim. Hayol v'Kanas Chachamim hu. Says in the Kanasu. Roy Kadashin, it's a drasha. Elema hoyelu medrash chachamim hu. Since it's a medrash chachamim, so Rabbi Tarfon says that what it's a medrash only chain va'ayin you would not need, but the other ones you would. According to Rabbi Kiva, even the other ones you would need to get shikhr. So in other words, 1 second, chain va'ayin you would need, but the other ones you would need. And Rabbi Kiva says even chain va'ayin you would also need. I think that's the pshat. Right. Iboilahu. Mu'ukiv get shikra. Someone who's waiting for get shikra again. He was magdish as Eved. He was mafker as Eved. And his master was a kayin. Oichel b'tshuma ein oichel. Does he eat truma or not? Kinyan kaspa yom rachmana. The high love kinyan kaspa who? Because he was mafker him or magdish him. Like Dilman mechusa get shikra. Kinyan kaspa karina. In other words, since he has still shaykhs, he's not totally free. Would he eat truma? Tashma dam Rav Mishashia. Kayenes shenis arva vloda bevatshav chasa. The kayenes, she gives birth to a kayin, and her shivcha also gives birth to a knecht, a little knechtala, not a knedela, knechtala, right? And they both eat truma. Sai the kayin eats truma because he's a kayin, and the knecht eats why the slave eats because he's a knecht. He's kinyan kaspai. Arielu echem truma. Man of shach they eat truma. The cholkin chelik echal gairin, but if they both show up the gairin, you only give them one chelik, because if they give two chalakim, you might go ahead and say that one of these is a kayin, right? Miyuchis, right? And therefore only one. Higdilu taruvais, if they get older, mishachman zeh, they go ahead and they free each other. They go ahead and free, they mishachman zeh, they would go ahead and free each other. Says Rashi, 4 lines down, the cholkin chelik echad, biyavamis mefarshim, chelik keachad, shein nice them truma begayrin, the cell is that, because Savein chalkin truma leve kanani begayrin, elam kain rabbi yimai. Dilma asel meima kayin hu, umasel yuchsin, you go ahead and make this evidence to a miyuchas to a kayin. V'hashla yasi la sukinoi, v'haim ukiv get shechrahu. Now, in this case, you can't give it, you're waiting for it to get shechra, because it says in the end, guys, right? The rabbi b'shus olav, v'lo yoda haiminayu eved. So guys, let's go through it. you have a kohen and an eved mixed together. Can anyone make them work? No. Can't make them work, right? They can't make them work, correct? When they get older, are they can they go and eat truma?
Yes.
Yes. Is this considered mu'ukiv get shikra? When they get older, what are they gonna have to do? For each other. So this is what the same. This is a shaila. You can be pushed from here. The fact that the chaylik truma begoyrin, and even though the mu'ukiv get shikra, of course, when they get older, you're gonna have to free to make sure that everything's on the up and up. So let's be pushed shaila that an evid that's mu'ukiv get shikra could in fact eat what? Could eat truma. So back. Let's see the right one more time, guys. A shaila is again. He freed his eved. He was mafker his eved. He's waiting for to get shikra. He doesn't give it yet. Can he eat truma if he's the eved of a kohen? So we want to be poished. Damra Mashiach. Kahenish in his arav vladid bevladshev chasa. Harielu oichlem b'truma man of shach. Whether it's a kohen or is a shivcha or a slave he eats. The guys, this is the proof. You're eating truma, guys. They both eating truma, right? Higdilu taruvis meshachmas ezeh. So what do you see? They get older, you have to free each other. So they get shikra. And nonetheless, they're eating truma. So let's be pushed to the shaila. The Mehachi Hashta. Hasam, im yavi Eliyahu v'yomer b'chad minayo devidhu, kinyan kasbu karinam beg. Over there, in that case, it's a suffix. If Eliyahu would come over and tell us, when these babies got mixed up, that baby A, that's the Evid, right? Then he's kinyan kasbay. Hachalav kinyan kasbahu. Wow. He's not kinyan kasbay at all. In other words, over there, the suffix is when he is the before mu'ukiv, you have to feed them earlier. Certainly at this point in time, he is kinyan kasbay. He wasn't freed. Because if Eliyahu would tell you the evidence, it's kinyan kasbay. Mashenkin over here, he's a shtickle freed already. Good. In that case, you need to get shikra. But it doesn't nem away from the fact that this eved is still an eved. We don't know who he is, but he's an eved. Mashenkin, where you already freed the eved halfway, and he just waiting to get shikra, can sign that he won't be able to eat. And anyway, the Gemara, we'll see the rest of the Gemara tomorrow. Okay, guys, tomorrow night, I probably share is going to be from my house. I'm having surgery tomorrow morning at 9:00. If everyone wants to have a mind, Eliezer ben Esther, a hernia, nothing major. You can come tomorrow, and I'm saying, but you can come if you want to come to my house. You certainly can, but certainly on Zoom also.